Hello everyone, this is Leimomi Keliikuli, Intuitive Soul Alignment Coach here. And today I wanted to jump on here for my video show, and I wanted to share with you basically one of the number one self-sabotage that we actually create, and basically like one of the best ways that you can do to make money really fast through alignment. So if you're just listening in, I just give a little bit for everything to kind of work together, because I do have my I'm broadcasting on my computer, and I'm also looking into what people are commenting on top of my page. So basically today I want to share about like how exactly you can make money really fast by really actually being in alignment. And really like that, what's the fastest way that you could do that? And then the number one reason why, what's the number one reason that could be causing your own self-sabotage. So if you guys have any questions, this is also kind of a Q&A kind of session. So if you have any questions along the way, feel free to ask your questions, because then I can also help you to find out the root cause of why you're not making the sales that you've been wanting to, and how does it all fit in alignment with your divine gifts. So let me start with first introducing who I am and what I share. So I'm basically intuitive soul alignment coach, and I basically help my clients to really find the most fastest and most efficient way by being alignment to their soul's blueprints, and using those blueprints to clear out any of the energetic noise that may be blocking them, which are soul level blocks, from stepping into their full potential, but also how can that translate into creating a business that they love. So if you're just jumping on, just say hi so that I know you're listening. And I have all the comments here, just making sure that it's on. Okay, good. And so at any time, just stop me, okay? So one of the biggest things that I've like practice, and I've also have tested this with my clients, is what is that number one reason, like why you're not creating the sales that you've been wanting to, and what is the root cause of that all. So actually I have to kind of explain to you about your divine gifts and your divinity. So remember now that everything that you are doing is about truly alignment to what you're meant to share out into the world, right? So we have our own unique energetic signature, our own unique, like basically our unique divine gift that we share out into the world. And so I have actually been able to categorize which ones are our main gifts. And you actually can have up to 3 primary, secondary, and third gifts. And that basically tells you who you are, what you do, how do you help people, to create the transformations that they need, what results that you can get from them working with you, and who is your general audience and your messaging, right? So once you know what your divinity is, what's your main divine gifts, everything you do in your life and your business really needs to be alignment to that. To me, alignment means that you're in alignment to being able to speak your own soul's voice, that you're able to create from the heart, that you're doing what you love. But even if you're thinking that you're doing what you love, if it's not completely in alignment with your main divine gifts, it will cause you to feel that even though a lot of people have all the bigger benefits of what you share with them, you yourself won't feel that alignment inside of yourself and your soul. And to me, that's a deeper connection to source, to God, and using the gifts that we've been given from God. So to me, that's your divinity, okay? That's your soul's gifts. That's your unique energetic signature. So if you think of it from that perspective, we are all energy, right? We are matter and we are energy at the same time. So when you're selling, what you're actually doing is you're actually selling your divinity to people. You're selling who you are, right? Whether you know it or not, whether you're spiritual or not, you're really, really selling yourself. And so if you're in alignment with your soul's gifts, absolutely, that would be so easy to create money, right? Money is just the outcome of the transformation that you're giving to people. So if you're not in alignment with your true divinity, it will always feel hard. It'll feel like you have to do all this selling. You have to show up every day. You have to like work really hard to create it, right? But actually, if you are aligned to your divinity, you absolutely will be able to create that with ease and flow, and that there will be much more of your soul's expression. Your soul's voice will come out, your original content will come out, and you'll feel really good at doing what you do. So, but that's a whole nother thing to talk about, because even if you think you're doing your purpose, if it's not in alignment to your divinity and your divine gifts, you can also create misalignments to other people. Even though you make a lot of money, you're very famous for what you do, doesn't always mean that you're in alignment. So the number one reason why we create this self-sabotage in our sales conversations, or when we sell ourselves, is number one is that we're not selling from our divinity. So what does that mean, right? We're not selling from the space of exactly of our own unique nature, our own divine nature. So for example, there are about 8 of these kind of energies that our soul is, and we all have it. It's just that we will have one of the primary or secondary or third type of main gift. And if you're aligning to the ones that are not really your strongest main primary or secondary gifts, you could be actually sabotaging your ability to have somebody buy the thing from you, because you're selling your weak point, basically, right? You're not allowing this easier way of expression of higher abundance to come through, because you are trying to do who you're not. And this is classic, the classic reason why, even though you make the sale, you end up with a nightmare client, or you end up with somebody start paying you, but they don't pay you in full. They run away, they don't finish their payment, they don't finish their program with you, right? Because it's not fully aligned to you, right? Hi, Kimberly, thank you. I just missed some of your comments. Oh, hi Dee. Good, you're catching me from the beginning. So, if that's the case, right? Think about it. If you're aligned to your main divinity, your main gifts that God source gave you, shouldn't you be able to ultimately convert lots of people to buy what you have to offer, right? But if they are buying, but then you're getting the wrong kind of clientele, that means that you're actually selling the wrong gift. You're selling the wrong part of your gift or your divinity, okay? I hope you can wrap your mind around that, because that is so, so true. I'll give you an example. One of my primary gifts is divine love. Everything I do, I talk about the soul's gifts. I talk about how can you get in alignment to your soul, as everything is the nature of healing, connection, love, of the space of holding the sacred space so you can really, really embody who you are, okay? So if you just listen to what I said, I was talking about your divinity, which is your soul. I was talking about how does it apply to making money, right? And all of these aspects that I'm talking about, it's my main primary gift, because I can figure out what is your divinity, okay? Then you have your secondary gift. Your secondary gift is actually your higher psychic gifts of how you help people at a much deeper level. So my main other gift is divine power. I'm very, very much about helping people to get into their leadership, getting to their soul-aligned way of doing it, right? And helping them to activate dormant gifts, simply, right? My third main gift is about divine creation, about business, about talking about, the transformations, about money, about how that affects your relationships and stuff like that, right? So that's my tools. This is why I'm talking about sales and all of these kind of things, because I am bringing in the spirituality and business all together and bringing it from the expression of divine love. So if you know your primary, secondary, and third, and you actually see all of your blueprints and how they all come together, then you ultimately will be able to sell your divinity, right? Sell from a space of your divinity, your divine gifts, rather than trying to sell who you're not. And this is what usually happens in your conversation with the people that you're trying to convert, right? Is you are basically trying to deliver this value, like that you have to do something in the conversation, but actually you don't really need to do anything, because you just need to be yourself, but you need to be in your own divine nature. But what you're actually doing a lot in your conversations when you're doing the sell is you're doing something that you've been told from other people that you said that follow their script, or you were told that you're supposed to sell it in this way, do this step-by-step way, or X, Y, and Z, whatever it is, but it's not your divinity. So you end up not creating the sale that you wanted, right? And that is the number one cause of why you create this self-sabotage, because you feel like you have to deliver this value, and you end up delivering and you overgive, and in the end you don't get anything back, right? So it makes you really, really feel uncomfortable. Kimberly says, excellent. Do you have programs or courses on exploring the gifts and understanding better ones we have? Yes, I do. Actually, the best program for that is my 14-day Soul Line Manifestation Method program, and that is where I give you your blueprints. I tell you exactly what your soul is at soul level. You take soul line action by actually doing this meditations and being connected to source, and then you actually do the actual actions aligned to each part of your blueprints, and then you absolutely will start to manifest and have you'll be selling from your divinity, because you're going to feel exactly what your soul is, and you're showing up from your divinity rather than what you're told that you need to do, right, to create this strategy and stuff like this, right? And it causes you to get really, really blocked over time, and you're not creating from the heart. And especially if you're very conscious in how you share your content with people, it never works. You always end up with the nightmare client that you never wanted in the first place, and it just escalates in the wrong direction. Then you don't get paid, or you don't get the true value, and you feel like you did something wrong. But actually, it's just because you never really stepped into what your main gifts were from the very beginning, and you didn't know that you were delivering that energy. So when you actually deliver that energy, it feels just aligned, that true alignment, right? Because usually we think we are, but we're really not. Unless you've seen your blueprints, and by the way, I go in your Akashic records to do this. Once I get your blueprints, it's going to like pinpoint, and the clarity you get behind it is just so amazing. Like Dee knows that, because we went into her divine gifts, and now that she knows what she is, and she is able to attract the right people. So I know what my primary divine gifts are the secondary and third, the new ones that are the next strongest one. How can I discover my second and third? I'm working from my primary one. Is that enough? Yes, actually, Dee, you maybe missed one of my old live streams, but go back and look at the one that I told about what are your 3 main divine gifts. And that's actually what I found out recently. So it's not part of my program that you went through. So that's why you're like, what's that? But when you have your main divine gift, it's definitely very, very useful, right, for you. So this is how it's going to work. So remember, when you imitate somebody else's divinity, you always ultimately sabotage your ability to feel that alignment, right? And then people buy according to that alignment. What actually happens is you, like, let's say, for example, your main divine gift is all about power. And instead of in the conversation, when you're actually telling the person, yeah, you can totally, sign up for this program. It's going to be about X, Y, and Z, and you explain all the details. But then you were told maybe from another coach or somebody else that actually you need to talk about their messaging a lot more than actually about, I don't know, like empowering them to get off their butt and to create things, right? Because usually that's what divine power people does. So instead of in the conversation, you're talking about how you're going to empower them, what kind of things are you going to do that you're going to help them to get into their power. Instead of actually talking about that, maybe you started talking about, let's say, about like messaging instead, which actually messaging has a lot to do with those with divine self-expression. They're really, really good at that, right? Then the person's like, wait, I thought you're gonna do this, but then now you're talking about this other way of doing it, like only talking about their messaging. Then they get really confused, and then they don't buy. That's usually what usually happens during that process, right? So, right. So she's asking me this. So what's that difference, right? What is your primary? Once you know your primary gift, what you would need in order to do that next thing, you would need actually your secondary and your third, but it actually just knowing that major one gift, it does help you to step into your potential much more easily in the conversation, because I'm aligning to power. I'm not aligning to self-expression, right? And so if you're having these conversations that way, you really, really would feel it. You feel the difference. You're not hiding about it. You are just talking about what you know from that perspective. That's selling from your divinity, right? You have to make sure that everything you're talking about in the conversation is that primary, not necessarily the secondary or third, but it has to be definitely the first, the primary. The secondary and the third has a lot to do with the tools that you give people, the things that you usually talk about in your marketing and things like that. But that's a whole different story. That's very, very different. Okay. I just want to make sure that popped up. So Viren says alignment is key to making it work for sure. Yeah, alignment is key to making it align to you, basically. When I say your divinity, I mean it's aligned to your unique soul's gifts. When it's not, people will feel it and then they run the other way because they're like, well, I thought you were the one that's going to help me with getting me my power, because that's your energy of power, right? And then you come out and you give a program that's not about power. They're like, huh? So that is why you need to know your soul's gifts. You have to know your blueprints in that way. Let's see what Dee says. I missed it. It has been amazing. The 14-day workshop was the best thing I ever did. Amazing life-changing content. Learned more in the workshop than I learned in years of education. Wow. Thank you for the comment, Dee. It's so true. Like when you are in that alignment, like you just know what you're supposed to do. You're not like trying so hard, right? That's a huge, huge difference from before. Sounds great. Please share links at the end. Oh, yes, I will. Thank you, Kimberly. Let's see. So I'm trying to catch up with your guys' comments. Absolutely. Knowing my primary gift has aligned me 100% to my conversations, thoughts, words, and staying in it, and had allowed me to stay specific in my messages too. Yeah, that's the primary and the secondary. Now that you have aligned to your primary D, now it's the next step is looking at what are your secondary and your third, which is what we do in the 30-day program of activating your high psychic gifts, and then the Be the Source program, stuff like that. Okay, so I wanted to get to my board and explain to you guys about that perspective, okay? How that works about selling from your divinity. So remember your divinity, your soul, your main soul's gifts. It's the voice of who you help and what you do from that level, right? So if you're in alignment with your primary, you're gonna feel that difference by how you speak to people, okay? When you aren't in alignment, your messaging is going to be off, and you're going to end up with all the wrong people, and have the wrong audience, and then you're going to feel like you did something wrong. But actually, it's just that it wasn't aligned to your main gifts, or your secondary gifts, because the main and the secondary is one of the most important things. But the third actually tells you what your tools are that you're going to help your people with. And the more you do that, the more you understand, you're going to understand how to make all the programs and services for your people, for your audience, right? Instead of this overgiving. So what we do, okay, when you are in alignment with your main gift, whenever you are in this alignment, you're going to feel the difference between you're talking from the heart or you're really talking from the head. So I have found that, I'm going to make 3 circles here. Your primary gift is the origin point of where people get the most benefit from your own unique, original content. So if your main gift comes from the 4th chakra, okay, it's going to be about, divine. I'll just use me as an example because you guys know me. So divine love. So everything that I want to speak to you that is going to sell to you is I have to talk about everything that resonates to divine love. So, but love is a whole huge way of expressing that. If I go deeper into this, I have tons of content to talk to you about than if I was if I went into maybe third, which is more about divine order. Sure, I can talk about all the systems and structures and strategies and stuff like that because that's really, really aligned to my third, which is all about divine creation. It's about business. It's about, creating experiences for people and giving them those tools. But if I focus my energy on here, it always is going to feel very, very hard to create than if it came directly from your origin, which is what source made you. Then that you need to find the bridge between the two, between your primary, your secondary, and your third, right? But it's so important to actually at least know which part of your gifts that you embody so that you can always give people the value that they want. So what happens in the sales conversation if you were aligning to the wrong one? If I aligned to divine creation here, in my conversation, I was just talking about all business stuff and, these kind of like things that I can help them, the different tools that I can help them with that, which I've done before, by the way. So I know how this feels like. It always feels like you're over-giving, like you keep giving and giving and giving. And no matter how much you give them all these different tools, they say, wow, that's really nice. That's cool. I think I need that, but why do I need that? It's like they kind of understand you, but they don't understand why they need to buy it from you, if that makes sense. Okay. Then if you're getting that kind of response from people, that means you're probably aligning to your third gift. This is your third main gift, right? They're going to say that kind of things to you because you're only focusing on the tools of what you're going to give them, and they're kind of like, well, I can get that from anybody else, right? Why is that so special that I should buy it from you? Okay. If you're selling from your secondary instead of your primary, which, by the way, that one for me is divine power, which is all about helping them to see what their higher psychic gifts are. They're using manifestation, intuition, talking about from the soul from a different level, but of leadership. So if you start using, for example, if I start using my secondary instead of my primary, my first one, people are going to say to you in your conversation, your sales conversation, which would be like, that sounds good, but I think I have to think about it. Because in their mind, they're thinking, yeah, that sounds like I need that, but I have to think about it. So when they say I think about it, that means you're giving them this one, the secondary. And then it causes them to be confused because they're like, well, I thought like I came to you for this one. But you're telling me from this point of view, yeah, I need to step into my leadership. I know that I need to do that, but I have to think about it. Do you see how that works? Like, because they have to think about it. It's coming from an expansive part of what they need to become, but it's like you're talking over their head when they haven't even had the capacity to understand what you're talking about, which is really, really coming directly from your heart and your soul. So, do you see the difference? They're going to either say, I have to think about it, or that sounds really interesting. I think like I kind of need that because I do need, to do my automation. I need to talk about business strategy. I need to do stuff for getting passive income or, things like that. And I just say, oh, that sounds interesting. I do need those tools. I do feel like I need those things. You see? Very different. Then if you sell directly from your primary, they're going to feel resonance and they're going to say, I really feel like this is what I've been missing. I've been missing this part of what I needed. I know I need this right now. Because they're in your presence, they're in your main primary gift, and they're like, oh, she delivers this divine love. I need that. Right? Instead of, oh, she delivers power, she delivers, creation. That sounds good. I'll think about it. So if you talk from here, imagine how much more faster it will be in the conversation to tell them that. Like to give them the ultimate transformation in that. They will say yes, because they're like, whoa, that's what I came to her to know more about. And this is what a lot of coaches are doing. They think that their primary is maybe not enough, or they think like, oh, it's nothing special. But actually, because your primary is so easy. It's so easy, and you think, oh, if it's too easy, that means that it's probably not aligned to me because it's just too easy. I need to do something a bit harder. And so this is what you end up doing, is you focus too much on your third or your secondary, and then you're trying to solve all the issues and trying to find out why, they are not buying, because they're listening to your third, right, and the secondary, because it's the tools and it's having them see the higher vision, but then they don't understand from this point of view, which is your original soul's voice that comes through from your primary. Does that make sense? So it's really a huge difference in how you're selling yourself. You're either selling your primary or secondary, or maybe even totally off, by the way, which a lot of people also, they tend to do that, but they don't know. And so they're like, oh, this is my primary. This is the most easiest darn thing. And I've been doing it my whole life, but I never really understood why I did it that way and why that was so easy for me. Like, because it's what you embody. It's your presence. It's what they know on an energetic perspective, whether they know it or not. They really know that that's why they came to you for this. But what you're seeing with a lot of coaches is that they are aligning to either their primary or their secondary or their third also, thinking like, yeah, I'm solving that issue for that. They may make a lot of money from you, but you never get the ultimate transformation, which is they wanted the primary from you. And then at the end of their sessions or stuff like that, they maybe have made results, but not at the results that they know that they should have had, because they were looking for that primary from you. So this is why it's so important to know your primary, secondary, your third, because then you're not misaligning people and you're really, really operating from your own unique gift, your primary gift. It always, always, always has to start from your primary gift, and then you go into the other ones, which actually gives the other stuff that maybe they're lacking, right? So I'm very, very well aware that if you're listening to this live stream, you really, really need a much deeper level of understanding your soul. And that's really what divine love is about. It's about helping you to see all of your soul's gifts and how can I package this right to create a business, right, that's aligned to me, but also that I'm able to step into my leadership and step into my power, because I ultimately know that this is who I am, this is what I'm meant to do, what I'm meant to put out in the world. So I can ultimately do this for everybody. If I know what your main gifts is, I can tell you like where you need to focus in your messaging, in your audience, what you're supposed to be, what you're ultimately supposed to be teaching people, like what is the main things that you're helping people with here. And what you end up doing is not in alignment to you in the first place, then you end up with nightmare clients or people who really, really don't get you. They don't value your expertise. They maybe don't even want to pay you or stuff like that, because you're aligning to the wrong ones of your gifts, if that makes sense. Okay. Let's see if I missed any question. D says, same primary gift area as me to be aligned to them as an ideal client. Wait, let me pop that up. Same primary gift area as me to be aligned to them as an ideal client. So you mean for your ideal client, you're definitely are, because you're divine power, right, D? So that is the main transformation that they need to get from you, because it's your originality of why they come to you in the first place. They need to be empowered. They need to be inspired. They need to feel like whatever you put out there, whether it's a book or it's you're speaking something, they have to feel the energy of power from you. Because again, that is the ultimate transformation that they get from you, which is your main divine gift. This is something that I uncovered by doing it on myself and my husband. Was I was like, oh, this is like, if people know about their main gifts this way, it will make it so much faster and easier for you to do things in your business. So this is why I'm getting on these live streams for you guys, is because I feel like you are missing these tools, these divine creation tools that I know I can ultimately deliver, because it's stuff that it has to do with business, has to do with money, has to do with sex, has to do with relationships, has to do with that deeper connection by giving you that experience, right? So right now I'm giving you an experience. I have you look at my board, and it's something, rather than me just talking straight to you, you get to see a different way of creation, but it's coming from my soul, but it is directly in alignment to the way I'm supposed to show up. So if you do the same thing here on your live stream or stuff like that, this may not work for you if you don't have these gifts. Do you see? So it's so important that you are doing everything in your marketing, everything in your business, everything in alignment with your main divine gifts, because then this is how you can sell from your divinity, from deeply within you. And so this is, again, the number one reason that causes you to have self-sabotage, is why people don't end up buying from you, right? Is because of that. They feel that discrepancy and they don't know why. They just feel, oh, she's doing divine power, she's doing divine creation, but I thought I came to her for more divine love. I want to know more about my soul. But then she's talking about business stuff. Like, what does that mean? I wanted to know more about my spirituality or things like that. Like, you see, so they can feel that discrepancy. So this is the fastest way you're going to make money, is if it's aligned to your main gift and you're taking these aligned actions to in any of these primary, secondary, or your third, but specifically your primary needs to be number one first. Then the abundance, from financial abundance, can flow so much more faster, because people will feel that resonance, and I call this your soul factor. It's your soul that they are aligning to, and that is what they really ultimately want, is they want that primary gift of yours. Okay. Any questions? Now you can ask me questions. Everybody says it totally is making sense. Good. And this is just me coming from deep reflection. Like, nobody told me this. Everything that I share on my live stream show, by the way, is just from my deeper reflections and how I see things from my point of view, right? From my divine love. And when I get into that more and more, my self-expression comes out. My unique original content comes out. But when you start thinking from the secondary to third, like, you get so confused, because you're like, well, I thought I had this one and I thought I had this one, but like, why isn't people buying? And that's why. It's because they think that they're buying your primary, but then your secondary, your third is what you're trying to sell to them. And that's basically what I did too. When I first started my business, I thought I was a psychic business mentor, which I was focusing on my third, which is my divine creation, which is all about business and giving people's experiences and stuff like that. And I was good at it. I made good money with it, But when I really focus on my primary, I make 10 times more money than in my third or my secondary. So that's the difference. If you are doing it purely in alignment that way, the people also will tell you there's a difference. Wow, like, it's so much easier. It's more in flow. Okay, let's see if I missed anything. So, right, remember that this is another thing you need to know, is that some divine gifts also, they're not meant to give a lot of information or value up front. Because if you do that, then you may give so much good content or information for the person that they just say, oh, I got it all from you. Why should I buy from you? And they're just wondering why. And you give them the offer, and you give them the offer, and you give them the offer, and they still don't buy, right? Because some gifts is really good at giving content. So the more you give content, the more you give value over give, the more people are like, well, you already gave me everything, so I don't need to buy from you. Do you see? Jessica says, I love how your video comes up exactly when I decide to make the next move in shifting my career. Oh, really? What are you going to do? You're going to shift into a whole nother career? That's awesome. Let's see what Kimberly says. Yes. Oh, good. Okay, this is really helping. Yay. Okay, Dee says, yes, I can really relate to this. Interesting. I did fitness personal trainer for so long, which I loved, and am good at, but it's only one part of my gifts or transformation. Yes, 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 yes. You probably were doing too much divine creation, right? Giving people experiences with their body and fitness. And so that could be your third. I don't know. You have to check that out actually to see what is actually your primary, secondary, or third. But usually if you give transformations like that through the body or anything related to health, usually it is also related to divine creation. Just need to turn off that buzzer thingy. So any other questions you guys have? Now it's time for some Q&A. I wanted to first explain to you about, selling from your divinity, which just means selling from what your soul is energetically, right? The energetics of who you are at soul level. And so what actually happens is if we do it that way, then what you're doing, if you're selling the other parts of your gifts, or you're selling somebody else's gift, it means that you have some gift envy. And gift envy never, ever, ever creates money, by the way. So this is why you shouldn't try to sell somebody else's gift, right? When somebody tells you like to do it in a certain way, because it never works for you energetically. Okay. Do gifts change? Because I think mine has changed when I was corporate and now I run my own business. Your divine gifts, Nina, no, it never changes. It's always the same. And because it's on the spectrum from the way that you made up from source, it's always like within these energetics, like the 8 kinds of energies that I described, which is compassion, love, order, truth, wisdom, self-expression, all of those, right? Like we all have that, but we have a primary or secondary gift. And usually as we evolve our soul, we usually do like our secondary or our third more often. So we think that is our main gift, but actually when you start to change things in your business, right, that feels more in alignment, then you start to get in your primary and you're like, oh, that's me. You know that feeling, like you feel like, oh, I'm doing my purpose, this feels right. That usually is your primary. I didn't know the difference either, because I've always either done divine power or divine creation. When I was a psychic monk, I was teaching yoga, meditations. I taught, oh my God, like 7 to 8 classes every day with workshops and all this kind of stuff. And that's my divine creation. Like, it's part of what I am. But if I was aligning to it, it always felt hard. Like, I swear to God, like I loved teaching in the beginning, but after a while, I did this after 10 years. I was like, oh my God, not another class. I feel really tired. I don't know if I want to do that again. Or, it just never really felt completely in alignment. I always felt like I had to push. I had to, show up in that way. And then I never really, really, really felt good. Or I did too much divine power, which is I was leading people, leading many, many, many people, masters, people who are really, really good at what they do. But then they were always following, there was always following me like I was a leader, right? Like I was a psychic guru that you're supposed to follow. You're supposed to follow my strategic thing that I shared with you. And I was like, ooh, it's like yucky too, right? It never really felt good. Then when I was like, oh, I'm divine love. Okay. So I definitely tell you what your gifts are. How are you going to make this into a good program and services that's really, really aligned to this individual, this person, doing it in groups or retreats or stuff like that. But from that point of view, then I felt like, oh, this is easy. Why was that so easy? It was because it was my primary. I thought holding sacred space and healing people and clearings and activations and all these things that I do right now, I thought it was just so easy. Like, why should I keep doing that every day? Because it's so easy for me to do, right? It just felt really good. That's why. It was because I was thinking that I needed to align to the other ones that really wasn't completely my primary. And then everybody else, they could probably feel the misalignment, but they knew that I was doing my purposeful work because obviously I made a lot of money and I was, known for what I do and stuff like that and my expertise. And same thing when you go to corporate, it's like that too. Like you're probably aligned to one of your secondary or third, but not fully in alignment with all three. Then you end up with like people who get the transformation, but you don't really feel so fully fulfilled. That's really, really a hard thing to uncover unless you know what your primary, secondary, your third is. It just makes it easier. So he says, that makes sense, as I love creating, but it's never got me financial abundance. Is that what you're trying to say? Right, you never actually, got a lot of money from doing all that fitness thing, right? Because it just never really felt easy. It felt kind of like you had to do it, right? And you charge for classes or stuff like that. Kimberly says, yes, many have said you need to market like this or that, and it felt fake to me. I am unique and want to share from that, not copy and do all are doing. Exactly. That is the main reason why we never really feel aligned in our business. And what ultimately happens over time is you kind of lose confidence in your expertise. And some people, they go all the way to not making any money in their business, and then they close their business, and then they open up another business thinking that that's their main gift, but then they end up finding out that nobody pays them for that thing and stuff like that. Because in the end, they're using all of these other tools and marketing in a way that's really not alignment to them, and then they end up in financial ruin over and over and over again because it just wasn't meant for you to do. Let's see. I love you guys' comments. Nina says, thanks. Jessica says, I've been working as a personal chef for 6 years, which has been my passion for so long, offering support and inspiration for vibrant health, and now moving into a calmer energy and offering healing on a deeper level in a way where it can nurture both me and my clients by delving deeper into massage and energy work. I've always wanted to hold space for nurturance, healing, and inspiration. For many years, I felt my goal was bigger than me. Now I'm finally realizing it was me all along, and finally gifting myself the gift of aligning with my divine gifts and owning it. Oh, beautiful, Jessica. That is profound, right? Like when you really shift from something that's really truly your gift, you show up so differently. You're so calm, and people feel that too. They're like, wow, she knows what she's talking about. And the more you talk about it, it's just, this is why selling from your divinity is so important. It's because it comes from a space of what your soul's voice is expressing. You're not really guessing. You're just really speaking your truth in that way. And so you end up, with people who are really aligned to you, and you feel really good about it. Kimberly says, oh my God, I hear you on that. Classes and classes. Yeah, it's, see, this is also what you need to check too, right? Like if you're just spinning your wheels and you're not making the money that you desire, then you might be really doing the wrong part of your gift. Or you're just doing it, but you're doing it not in a strategic way that allows you to leverage your time, which could be your pricing, by the way. It could be your pricing, or it could be from mainly like you're not doing, like you're not doing the sessions that's truly in alignment to your primary gift, right? So when I was doing everything, all of divine creation, giving people experiences that were super fun, I always felt, well, that was fun, cool. They had a good experience, but I had a kind of not so good experience. It was just like, oh, it was okay, right? Like really, if you know that this is your primary gift, you feel so excited to talk about, like you can talk about this like all day, every single day, and you never get tired of it. That's how you really know that it's your real aligned main gift. I can talk all day about all of this stuff about your soul's gifts. When I was doing divine creation, I had to think really hard. I was like, okay, what class are we going to come up with today? You know, what are we going to meditate today? What are we going to, you know, do this postures? And it was creative, but I mean, I always felt like I had to try, right? I always feel like you have to try. So, he says, yep, I can feel me so fulfilled and easy when I am in my divine power. I literally grow energetically bigger. Yes. And I noticed that too, Dee, when you learned what your main, you know, divine gift was. I noticed your energetic field got bigger. You started to do more, right? Like show up in a different way. And it felt easier, like just watching you glow, because it really was aligned to your main divine gift. And that's how you know too, it's like this person is glowing. They always say this person is glowing, you know, and they get really, really attracted to you and they want to work with you. They totally just do. Jessica says, wow, I know the feeling of having to try so hard. I am declared that I am done with that. Flow is now the way. Yes. Yes. I'm excited when everybody says that to me, because we've been so used to doing it the hard way. I know firsthand, like when you're doing your purposeful work, but it's not in flow, it's like you make good money, but you don't feel fulfilled. That's the worst place to be. Because really your gift, your main divine gift, has to feel in flow. If you feel in flow, that means you're aligned. If you are feeling like you're doing it, but people are getting results, but you're not feeling completely good in it, then that's not in flow, right? It's like you pushing against the grain. Or you could be doing it and many people are saying like, oh, you're really awesome, and you seem to be so good at what you do, but then at the end of the day, when you close your eyes and you think about what I did today, that felt really, really good, you can feel like, oh, no. I feel like I did work too hard on that. I wish I would have like done it so differently or stuff like that. Then you really know that's in alignment. Because it's supposed to feel in flow. It's supposed to feel easy, and ultimately people get the transformation without you even trying. Like it's really the difference between, you know, you lifting up this big box, right? Or you just lifting it up with using all of your might in your hands, right, to lift it up, or you just with the flick of a finger can pick it up like and so easily. That's two different ways of like how your body flows with it. When you are in your main gift, it's like that one finger picks it up and it was easy. I'm done. Okay, next person. I'm done. That's why it's so important to know your blueprints, because your blueprints will give you all of that information over time. But you have to align to each and every one of them. Dee says, yeah, people even told me I was glowing and looked so happy. Yeah, that's also another effect that you know that it's in alignment for you. Is it that people say that you look glowing for sure. Sometimes feels like force rather than flow. Yeah, if it's forced, then it's probably you're aligning to the wrong part of your gifts. Oh, can you guys hear me? It seems to be going in and out. It's totally fine on my end. Okay, I hope like it's okay. Okay, so anyway, any other questions about that? You really need to know what is your primary, secondary, and your third. But mainly you need to know your main one so that you can start to get in alignment to that one. So then it feels like it's flowing and it's good. right? It's easy. And that's the fastest way you're going to make money, by the way. Do it the easy way, align to your main gift, make sure that you're not aligning to the secondary or the third. But remember, that is also the energies or the transformations that you do give your clients too. But you have to know which part of it are you doing, right? And how to feel that easy alignment, that easy way. Okay, let's see if I missed anything else. So when you're in that sales conversation, never ever try to feel like you have to overgive. What you're doing in the conversation is you're just checking whether that person is going to get the biggest benefit from you, which is your main divine gift, right? You're going to check whether they need that or not. Because if they don't, then you just want to, recommend somebody else, or you want to see which parts that you could address for them, right? Then maybe that's going to be your smaller offer, or you could, put them into a passive income part of your funnels that you have, right? You could give them your book. If you have a book, you could give them, access to your Facebook group or stuff like that. So you just really need to know where along your business that you can assess the problem for them, because if it is in alignment in that conversation, and you know that you ultimately give that transformation for them, then you can give a good offer, right? And then they'll say ultimately yes, because they're like, well, duh, like I need help with X, Y, and Z. And they're not going to be like, oh, let me think about it, right? Because when they say I think about it, they're talking about your third gift usually. If they say, that sounds kind of interesting, I think like I could use those tools, that makes sense, but they don't really, truly want to buy, it means you're using your third gift. But if you say your main gift, your primary gift, they will say, yes, that is what my soul wants, that's what my soul needs. I really, really feel like intuitively this is the best thing that I need right now. And they buy it immediately, or they think it over one night and they buy right after that. Because again, like we are just meant to be there to tell them what is the ultimate transformation, which is, right, the main gift there. And then, because if you're imitating somebody else's gift while you're in that conversation, they won't buy, because they're like, that's not you. I thought I was coming for you, your energy, not that other person that knows all strategy or stuff like that, if that's not your main gift, right? So this is why you don't really need to overgive. You don't really need to give so much value in the conversation, because it's either a yes or no. They're going to know it or not, right? So let's see. Jessica says, imagine a world where you and all the light workers were teachers in primary school. This is what we should be learning to connect with our divine purpose. I'm just blessed to be able to be here at this time, to have this opportunity to align stronger. Oh, thank you, Jessica. I really wish like we valued this so much, like all the stuff I'm talking about, because it's really, really what people need to know their main gifts. And once they're aligned to it, it's like, like this actually, if you think about it, this will make it so easy for, better than a personality test and stuff like that, because it solved the issue of where they feel that alignment, right? Kimberly says, yes, Jessica, wouldn't that be amazing? I see that in the future. Yeah, I think once we start to change our values about what education we truly want, this is ultimately going to be so easy for all us light workers to do what we're meant to do, right? Because people value this and people are asking these questions. Like right now, you guys are asking these questions. This is the first level of that deeper awareness and consciousness, right? You really, really feel the value in it. And once you get educated about that, you just look for it, right? That's why I love what I do, is because like I'm just, even if you don't buy anything from me, I always think like you ultimately will find a better way that's aligned to you by me giving you this information right now, that you're going to feel that alignment, and then you're going to do what you need to do to feel in flow. Because that's all I want, is I want people to feel this flow, because it's really meant to be easy. But we've been forcing it for so long that all we know is misalignment. And how you know you're misaligned is all the chaos happens. A lot of like stuff happens to people that really shouldn't happen, because they're not aligned to their purpose. They're not aligned to what they're meant to be doing. They're not aligned to the way that they're supposed to share their gifts. And they get all, misaligned in the process from other people. So this is what I'm doing in my next program, the 14-day Soul Line Manifestation Method program, is I will give you your blueprints, and I'll give you, what your gifts are, so that you can actually use that to manifest whatever you desire. So in 2017, it's really about manifesting your wildest dreams. So in this 14-day program, I give you what your blueprints are. You watch these 10-minute videos so that it can explain to you what each of the blueprints are from what that point of view. You do this meditation, you connect with source, and then you figure out what is that thing that's most aligned and actual action that you need to do, and then you take aligned action like this, and you can ultimately like manifest whatever you want every 2 to 4 days by doing this. So if you align to each part of your blueprints, you'll see that so much more abundance comes through. Financially, even media opportunities, like all kinds of things that's aligned to your main gifts will start to come to you, and you start to attract it. So, and we're starting on January 2nd, so it's starting very soon, like next week. And what I need to do is I need to actually record your blueprints. It takes me about maybe 10 to 15 minutes to record, have this recording for you. I give you a PDF file of your main frame of references of what your soul is. And then when we start the program, you actually start doing that aligned actions. And then you're going to see that many different things will start to be attracted to you, people, places, and things. And you'll feel that alignment in action. And that's the first step, is manifestation and attraction. When you get more up into the other levels of your gifts, by the way, which knowing your 3 gifts, it actually takes some time to implement. Then the next step would be, knowing your highest psychic gifts, which is your secondary gifts, and then later on becoming the embodiment of source and being able to do your master genius. And then that's, knowing how to use your third gifts. So this program is ultimately like the easiest way that you're going to get confidence. You're going to step into your soul line leadership much more faster. You'll be more visible. You're going to feel more this authentic expression, that definitely everything that you share with people will come from a space from your main gift. And I have to tell you that if you're not taking action in your main gift, it's going to cause a lot of other disruptions in your other parts of your life areas. So if you feel like there's stuff missing, like, in your relationships or in your business, making money or things like that, that you're not really good at necessarily, it's because you're not aligned to your main gift. So you end up like creating circumstances that are attracting the opposite of your main gift. So for example, if you are divine power, you're going to create lots of disempowering effects in all of your different life areas, right? Like mine is divine love. So if I don't create from divine love, I end up with really bad relationships, or people who, don't see my value, or getting nightmare clients or things like that. That's really the opposite of divine love, which is more like not acceptance of me, not seeing my value. Do you see how that works? So this is why it's so important that you start to align that way, and then you're manifesting directly from your main gift. Once you've done that, then you can do your other stuff, which is aligning to your higher psychic gifts, and then knowing what tools and stuff like that for your third gift, right? It's really a huge difference between that, okay? So if you guys are interested in that, you can go to my website. I'll just put it at the bottom here after I finish here. But it's on my website, leimomikeliikuli.com, and just click on the one that says 14-day Soul Line Manifestation Method Program. And it's literally like the fastest way that you're going to feel this alignment, because I want to teach you how to do this yourself, right? I don't want you to depend on me to explain everything like this, right? I want you to actually experience it, because that experience is what's going to catapult you in this next year. It's like amazing how much stuff that's going to push you forward when you are in this alignment, right? He says, oh, everyone should do the 14-day program. I did it and it completely supercharged my life, both personal and professional. I changed. No, not aligned to doing soul readings myself, and it was the best decision I ever made. Thanks to Leimomi. I'm in love with working with her. Thank you, Dee. Yeah, she's my #1 fan, and I'm a #1 fan of your work too. Dee. Jessica says, you're speaking exactly to what has been happening in the next phase. I literally made the decision to move in a new direction, and your video came up. I'm excited to see and be part of your program. Oh, yay! Yeah, Jessica, like this will be so perfect for you, I think, because you're getting that clarity, right? So the next step is that aligned action. Kimberly says, excellent, I will check it out. Okay, good. Thank you, Kimberly. Dee says, I am so fulfilled and aligned now to empowering women. Yeah, and that's your main gift, right? You empower people, which is so different than you know, the way I do it, right? I'm all about divine love and the soul's gifts. That's a totally different perspective. And talking from that perspective, it's all about self-love or divine love. And yours is more about power, empowerment, inspiration, right? It's so different. This is why you need to know what your energetic signature is, because it just pinpoints who you are, what you do, what tools you need to give your people and your audience, when you're messaging, what you're meant to, you know, express yourself in a higher level of service, which, by the way, that would be your secondary gift. And so when you know all these different aspects, you'll just be doing it. You won't even think about it. You'll be like, yeah, this is aligned, this is aligned, this is aligned. And then the next steps would be all of your life areas in the physical world, you start to up-level them. Then that alignment just is going to feel and flow. You're going to have people, places, and things that are just brought to you without you even trying. Those are the next steps, right? So anyway, how many of you guys are excited about that and you want to join in? I'm really, really excited for people to start this, because I think it's going to solve like your biggest pain point, which is how can you sell your divinity? How can you sell what you do, but in a very, very soulful way? Dee says, yes, and I see it now. God, all those years of trying to be someone I really wasn't. Right idea, wrong process. That's true, right? Dee, like, like how long you been teaching fitness, right? Like, and talking about fitness and stuff like that. Oh, that was like the hard way, right? Oh, Kimberly, yay. Yeah, and you'll love this program. I'm excited to get started. I did this the last time in October, and I couldn't believe what people manifested. They got on big media opportunities, on Glamour magazine, on Life Grid magazines. What was it? Even got on podcasts, like really big podcasts, and they all were just from effects of them taking aligned action, right? What felt right and what made them more visible. Some made like $5,000 or more. Some just felt this clarity, which for Dee, hers was clarity, which now made it easy for her to make her book. And she made her book in like 2 months and became a #1 bestseller. Like, I'm excited for her book. Over 20 years? Holy cow. That's a long time to be doing the wrong gift, right? And making it so hard for you to express what you're meant to express. Yeah, I did it for 10 years being a psychic monk. And it never ever really felt good until I was like, yay, this is what I meant to be doing. He says, got accepted to write for Thrive Global. Oh, right, yes. Even guest blog posts. She got on that, and a whole bunch of them got on guest blog posts and stuff like that, because it was just aligned action, right? Like, it was like, oh, I can do this. Like, this confidence came from within, and then it was like, just nobody was thinking about it anymore, right? They're like, I'm doing it. That's actually how you know you're in aligned action. It's like you go beyond the fear and you just take action. So start taking action that way. You're going to see a huge difference if you are aligned to it in this way. All right, well, I better get off so you guys can get along with you know what you're doing. But I wanted to share this very key information. And I will continue like sharing this with you guys. I have my TV show coming up too. But I'm going to do that on YouTube. And if you want to know more about this stuff, go on my website, check it out, leimomi.com, and jump into my Facebook group, because that's the best way that you can keep in touch with me and with other people who are also doing amazing work. It's called Soul Alignment Leaders for Conscious Living. So that's where you can also like engage with each other, with other people who really value getting into alignment with their soul and living a, you know, a purposeful life, alignment to their purpose. And there's other things that's going to be coming up, so I'll be mentioning it by you guys watching all of my videos here. So just keep an eye on whenever I get on live, and just jump on in and listen to these really amazing teachings. And it's totally in flow. It's coming from source, so I really don't know what I'm saying until I turn on the broadcast. So this is the best chance for you guys to do that, right? And also, yeah, I will be doing more in-person stuff here on Maui, so you can come and visit me. Or if I ever do go, you know, to the mainland, you will hear that I'll be doing it, and we could do VIP days, or I could meet you in person. But essentially, I'm going to be doing it more here on Maui. So if you've been meaning to come meet me, or come even just for a workshop for a couple of days and just, you know, spend time here to relax, I'll be giving these live workshops and also other programs and retreats live here. So anyway, well, I'll be seeing you guys all very soon. I love you all, and until next time, aloha.